What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Fight Like Hell podcast. Today is Monday, August 16th, 2021. I'm one of your co hosts, Rob, and with me is my heterosexual life mate, Austin. And then we have a very special guest, someone that we know dearly, someone that we also podcast with on a different show, Carla. What's up?
Hello. Not much. Just I'm very happy you guys brought me in. And I'll be
Mhm.
happy to be doing the podcast with you. So thank you.
Of course. How's the weather over there?
Sunny, good old sunny LA, you know.
Is it smoky down there?
Because of the
Besides,
homeless
bes-
bears.
besides, I would say besides the normal like smog and stuff, but
No, not really. It's just very sunny and bright.
yeah.
Well, that's
Are you
good
not?
that you
Are you not?
actually are having
Are you
good
not a
weather.
warm weather person?
No, I'm definitely I'm fit for like to live in a cold forest or something.
Me too. It's okay.
You always bundle up though. I like watched you during like the show notes, like throwing on like what do you got on, like a scarf or a jacket or something like that?
Did I?
Just
You
now.
got something over your shoulders right now.
Oh,
What
What
are
are you
you
wearing
Oh
right
yeah,
now?
the air conditioner up. I'm like, I cannot exist in the heat. So
Fair enough. You might do
I
well in
know.
Alaska.
And then Rob's over there dying because he only has one AC unit.
Yeah,
Just
it's
one?
hot as balls in
Always
Wyoming,
hot.
and I have to have an AC unit. Yeah. So, anyways, for those of you who have not met Carla yet, she and Dr. Piccolo, Austin, and I do a podcast usually every other week, The Protector. So we have a decent amount of rapport with Carla and like her as a human, both on and off air. So we're like, you have an interesting backstory and you have some interesting theories on some topics that we're going to discuss today. So
Trending
why the hell
news.
yeah, why the hell shouldn't we have her on? And you, like, we gave you no notice. We hit you up last night, like less than
right.
24 hours. We're like, hey, Carla, you want to come on?
Yeah, I'm like, of course.
Yeah, no, it worked out perfectly. And this lines up with our first Monday podcast in probably what, like 3 weeks, Austin?
Oh no, we did it last one on Wednesday, huh? Never mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while. But let's get
to
into
be
it. All
for
right.
sure.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is weekend, and for you, it was a little bit longer than a weekend. Adventures. Austin, what did you do
Nothing.
this weekend?
Absolutely nothing like usual. Like usual.
Fucking knew it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to monitor my P's and Q's on this one because
Are you though?
Yeah.
I told my
Should-
mom that this one was going to be an interesting one on Afghanistan. We had a pretty intelligent person on who's
Oh.
probably gonna not.
Why are you talking about yourself like that?
No, not me. So I'm trying to set it up so she'll actually listen because a couple of them she's turned off 15 minutes in because of how vulgar.
That's your fault.
Yes, it is. It is.
That's all you.
Anyways, Carla,
Mhm.
what have you been up to for the past week or two? What's going on in your world?
Well, so I go to school in Georgetown University, right? But it's online. So we had a class for our final, and that I had to go to DC, and this was to do a walkthrough of the Capitol incident. Unfortunately, when I got there was a big storm and they canceled it. So I basically just traveled. Yeah, it didn't even happen.
That sucks.
Yeah, I know it sucks, but you know what?
So what are you going to school for?
Applied intelligence. Yeah, it's so that's why I call myself like an intel enthusiast because that is what I am. Like I'm always kind of like studying terrorist groups and whatnot. Like sounds bad, but like for fun because
right, yeah.
You know, and current news, which is what we're going to talk about today. But yeah, basically I went to Boston and I went to DC, and I mean you guys have been there, so
yeah, and we got to follow you on your stories as you're going around.
I'm sure you did. Yeah,
we got to see all the things that you're up to. It looked like you had a fun time though, and you got to get out of California for a little bit, which probably was appealing to you.
And the weather was good. Besides your trip, besides DC.
Yeah. Besides DC, I almost got a heat stroke, but that's on me for not drinking enough water.
Drink more
But
water.
yeah, it was like 100 degrees, and I was walking for like 8 hours straight in the sun. Without
that's not good.
So they'll do it to you, right?
Yeah. Water is important if you're going to be out that long.
Right.
Did you get out to all the memorials and monuments and stuff
I
like that?
did actually. One of my friends from my hometown happened to be there, and we went together. We walked through everything. That's what we were doing for those like 8 hours. But we had really good conversations. We were actually talking about a lot of topics we talk about. And it was just interesting to do that at the same time as seeing the memorials and monuments, and just kind of get like a presence of what America is, while we were there. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you definitely bring a lot of intellect to our other podcasts. Historically, you've almost every episode have teach me a new word that I usually forget, but like there will be something she says during the podcast with Jason, and I'm just like, what the fuck was that, man? Okay, I'm
Like,
gonna
have
go
to
look
look it
that
up.
up. Yeah, I do. I'm just sitting there like typing away, trying to figure out what she's actually talking about. So stay tuned, people. I'm assuming she's gonna drop some knowledge on us eventually.
And then Rob's gonna forget it 5 minutes after this podcast is over.
Here's the difference. We have this recorded, and I always go back and listen to our episode at least once to see how it recorded.
So what you're saying is you'll know it for another 5 minutes after this.
Yeah, or maybe I'll actually make a note of it this time so that way I can remember.
Smart
And then
man.
I'm gonna try to use it in conversation. Like maybe I'll like dump it on Steph in a conversation to see if she knows it. She's pretty intelligent.
She probably would.
She probably
even
would,
if you remember.
If I remember. But anything else happened that was fun for you besides Boston and DC?
I met a lot of good people from my program. I met my professor. He's a monumental man. Like, he's worked for like top agencies and whatnot, and it was just very interesting to get to have beer with him, talk with him. It kind of really speaks to how encouraging it is to be in higher education and meet people who are like patriots and like proud of our country, and like, just willing to do what has to be done. So
yeah,
it's amazing.
With all that being said, I think it brings up an interesting time to actually have these conversations, because America is kind of in a torn situation where we have ideologies leaning very hard on both sides, and then to go to a place that has so much political atmosphere going on both on the right and left, it was probably a very nurturing environment for someone such as yourself that likes to have healthy conversations and debates over things.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as you said, there's like the opposing side. There's many sides really. And you get to talk to all these people, but everyone's really, or they tend to be civil about it, and that fosters like good conversations and communication, which sometimes you can't get like in LA. So
that or on social media, I think, is social media conflict where you have people yelling into one ether and then into the other. Whereas when like I told Austin earlier, you weren't privy to this conversation, but I'll just bring it up. I wouldn't say 100% of everything that you and I talk about maybe we see eye to eye on, but we've always been able to have healthy conversations about it. So like, even if you and I wouldn't even say had conflicting ideology, but I would say just a differ of opinion, it's always been interesting to have a conversation with you about it, because either A, I will absorb something and say, holy shit, I actually never looked at it from that perspective. That's a good point. Or B, maybe I'll stick with my ideology of it and I'll present it to you or to our little group. And it creates interesting conversation instead of an argument, which is the way we're supposed to communicate.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else fun you want to talk about?
Well, typically I don't like flying in airplanes, right? So
I know about that actually.
I told you, right? I'm
hit
like,
me
what
up.
do I
You hit me up
do?
about anxiety.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Oh my god! So I was doing what you said, right? It was like deleting or organizing pictures on my phone. Like I did that for a couple of hours. um, and yeah, just listening to music, all those things. But yeah, I can proudly say that my fear is lessening because it's really all about exposure. So
100%.
yeah, I'm happy to do that.
And those of you who are not privy to the text message conversation that Carla and I had about anxiety, this is something good for the veteran community. It's called grounding techniques. And what grounding techniques are, you take 1 to 5 things that you can either touch, that you can see, that you can smell, that you can taste. I'm missing a sense. What else? I think okay,
Here.
here. Yeah. So any of those things, you figure out what your best pathway is for it. Perfect example for myself when I'm having anxiety or potentially going to have a panic attack, I use the methodology of touch. And what I do typically is I grab my KIA bracelet and I start squeezing it a little bit, and it kind of like snaps me back to reality. Or, like I told Carla, I will organize photos on my phone. Like I'll go through and delete duplicates, delete videos that I don't need, just something to distract my mind physically. That way, my hands are in motion, and it kind of like snaps me back into the now instead of worrying about the anxiety. So I strongly suggest, if you're struggling with something, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be plane rides, just in general, if you're getting anxious about things, try something. You can do things like seeing things or hearing things. Some people do that with music. Some people do it with taste, like maybe they'll eat something or drink something. So whatever works.
Yeah, it really helps. And yeah, I'm booking more trips because I can't stay in one place. So
Yeah.
And especially in California.
especially in LA, at least.
Yeah, it's and it's just getting worse now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then way later, once I'm settled in out in Arizona, if you want to escape for a weekend or something like that out to the Grand Canyon, you know a guy and you know a pretty cool dog who will give you some cool tours over there.
I would adore that.
Your own personal tour guide.
Yep.
Very nice.
So, well, how was your weekend, Rob? What'd you do this past weekend?
I played in a charity hockey event, and per usual, did very good. And I can't say the word.
How was
Carla,
the
help me out.
ending?
Preliminary. There we go.
Yeah, preliminary. Yeah.
I said it right. Holy shit. We did really good as a team. Made it all the way to the championship, and according to Rob, official adult hockey, lost the championship like usual.
Like usual.
Yep. So it was
One day you'll get there.
But I made an agreement with one of my teammates and my girlfriend the night before that no matter what the outcome was of that game, to be proud of how far we got and to be a good sport at the end of it, like not dwell on it. But in the game, I was allowed to be as physical and as, for lack of better words, dramatic. Because like I don't know, like I'm a very strong, opinionated person when it comes to hockey. I'm super competitive. And the thing that I can say proudly, and I kind of hate saying this because I know a couple of the Utah Warriors might listen to this, I felt like we just played a team that was significantly better than us. My line that I was on, though, I can proudly say that the guys and I didn't have a single goal against us, but we also didn't produce a goal either. And we lost 5-2. The game was a lot closer than it actually sounded because they probably outshot us 42-5 or something like that. Like it was ridiculous. And yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, it was one of those things that, you know, it was cool to be there. It was for a charity, so it was nice to do that. I got to skate against my tournament team, and we beat them, which was kind of cool. So I did a lot of chirping on the ice, and that's AKA shit talking. Well, that game was going on.
I mean, that's part of hockey, though, isn't it?
It is 100% part of hockey.
I mean,
you just got to live up to hype. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shit talking's the main part. So
Yeah, as long as you're producing numbers, which I was, except for in the championship game.
yeah,
per
and
usual.
then you just call me afterwards and vent to me about everything.
Yeah, I did a little vent session. It wasn't as bad or as dramatic as most of them. Like I had a tighter grip on this one. So that was my weekend.
Well, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
fun.
and then when's your next one?
As of right now, November,
Yeah,
in
Vegas.
Las Vegas. So that should
Oh,
be
wow.
pretty freaking cool. It's gonna be for
Um,
Veterans Day weekend.
No, you're gonna drive to that one since you'll be in Arizona.
Yes. I'm gonna drive to that one. Ironically, the weekend before, it's kind of a hot topic that we're gonna be talking about later. The group of guys and girls that I deployed with to Afghanistan, we're doing a reunion the
How
weekend
are you?
before, so I'll drive to Vegas.
Very
Probably,
nice.
I don't
You
know
might
if
as
I
well
can
just
handle.
stay.
No, dude, I don't know if I can
No?
handle a week in Vegas, man. Like,
Yeah, money wise.
yeah, dude. One
Yeah.
time when I was in Vegas for 4 days, I spent 10 grand. Like, it's
Yeah, I've seen your stories on Snapchat.
yeah, no, it's not a good idea. So I'll probably just go for both weekends. It's only a 4-hour drive, so
Yeah, it's not bad.
drive out, see my friends, come home, work, and then drive back up for the tournament.
Yeah, at least you're not driving from Casper to Las Vegas and back,
My God, that would be a far drive.
right?
But enough hockey, because I think we probably either lost some listeners or gained some listeners last week and put you to
I almost
sleep.
fell asleep. Yeah, I almost fell asleep last episode.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah. But let's get into trending news, man. What do you got, Austin?
So a couple things I want to start off with is, I mean, Florida Man's always been a big thing and just funny memes. So apparently Netflix is making a 8-episode series called Florida Man. I have no idea what it's about. It's the only thing I could find on it. So I don't know if it's gonna be like funny news, funny articles, funny like replays of it. I don't know. So we'll have to find
Is
out.
it out yet?
No, they just started like making it.
Okay.
It's not even close.
Okay, cool.
So it's probably
I mean-
going to be an episode per case, sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought there'd be like hour-long episodes,
Oh.
and I imagine that's how it would be. Is like either reenactments of it, or maybe they're gonna play like clips of different Florida Man. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it's going to be like Unsolved Mysteries, but Florida version.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wild and crazy
Alligator
as shit
escaping.
happens. Yeah. So, and then the next thing is Florida Man steals alligator from a golf course and tries teaching it a lesson by throwing it on a beachside cocktail lounge and stomping on it twice.
Did he
What
kill
the-
it?
No, no.
That's
He
not
got-
going
he
to.
got- he got arrested later for animal cruelty.
Yeah, I figured.
It's like, how are you gonna teach an alligator a lesson?
Yeah,
This is
no.
like brain dead.
It's like, how drunk and high were you that you had to do this?
Very much.
Yeah, no. Florida's wild. Right now, the population of mammals in the Everglades have been so decimated by two things, and they're
Mhm.
both reptiles. One is anacondas, or like
Oh yeah.
big snakes that weren't even native to Florida, but people like flushed them down their toilets years ago, or just released them in the Everglades.
Yeah.
And alligators, so they have decimated like the deer population, raccoons, you name any cute little critter. Sorry,
Yeah,
Mom.
I mean, alligators are probably like the number one, like most like pest in Florida.
Well, here's the thing: the snakes are eating the alligators too. Have you guys seen that?
The anacondas, or
Yeah.
oh wow, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Austin, if you want to keep bullshitting, I'll try to find something.
Oh yeah, I'm looking up something real fast. So
Yeah, there's an anaconda that like ate an alligator.
Like one of them big ones, or just like it was like a small baby one.
No, it's a big one.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
That's a little disturbing.
Yeah, no, the alligator is just sitting there getting eaten and doesn't seem to care. And then there was one that the alligator was actually so big that it ended up killing the snake because it was too big to digest, and the alligator slowly.
It actually happens
ate
a
its
lot.
way.
Actually, it looks like.
Yeah.
How greedy.
Show some pictures.
I will. Hold on. I'm trying to find a good one.
Man, dude, be like Jason. Be quicker at this shit.
I'm not. I'm not professional.
Yeah. You also didn't put our logo in the right corner.
Well, get over it.
I mean, it's good for me. The American flag's showing at least. Because
We don't need
normally that's
that.
blocked. We need that right now. Everyone needs America.
America.
Yep.
So
while he's looking that up, oh wait, we already started talking about that. The Florida man steals the alligator. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what brought this whole thing upon, man. Come on.
Yeah. Well, hurry up more faster.
Get your shit together.
I need you to get your shit together. There's people right now who are like fast forwarding us.
I mean, only because of you though.
No, because we're literally waiting on you, Carla. Who are we waiting on right now? Oh, we just lost Carla.
I hit the wrong button. That was my bad. Hit the wrong button.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit.
So,
I have not seen
that. I mean, that's
a thing.
Just straight up eating that crocodile.
That's wild.
Not a crocodile. Alligators. Crocodiles are native to Australia.
Whatever.
There's a difference.
Whatever. Same fucking thing.
No, they really aren't. They're actually two different species.
Nope, same thing. Same thing, bro.
Not even close. One has jaws that can expand at the same velocity and pressure rate as a bite rate. That's a crocodile. Whereas an alligator has closing capabilities but doesn't have the same strength of opening. That's why you see a lot of alligator wrestling and not crocodile wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I grew up in Florida. Like, I know these things. I went to
You're a Florida man yourself.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So,
what do you have any Florida man stories, Rob, of yourself?
I'm sure he does.
No comment. My mom's actually listening to this podcast.
No.
So. But let's get into some fun stuff. Carla, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like a little bit about where you're from, who you are, your education, where you're trying to go in life. We want to know.
Okay, so I'm from Los Angeles, California. I was technically born and raised here. I did live in Texas for a tiny bit, but we came back to Los Angeles, and I've always been interested in politics, history, all that since I was a little kid. Like, my dad would show me war movies since I was 6. I don't know if that's healthy, but that's what got me into all this stuff anyway. And ever since then, I'm just kind of studying these topics, and I figured, why not just go to school for it, right? So I went to college, then I went to university, and now I'm doing grad school. And maybe I should probably do a doctorate while I'm at it.
Just going all out.
Yeah, you have to go all the way, right? But yeah, it has been hard for sure. It has not been easy. Like, things have not been given to me at all. Like, it's always something I have to earn by myself, for myself, right? And for my family. Throughout the whole time, really. My dad has been struggling with his health. He's had like brain surgery, throat cancer, lung cancer, like all these kinds of cancers, right? And it has really taught me how to be like persevere, right? Not just for them, but like for myself. So it's been inspiring for sure, although not like the funnest journey, right?
Right.
But,
yeah.
That is why I'm here, right? Fight like hell. Like,
yeah.
That's exactly what we all have to do or have been doing in some shape or form.
What was your undergrad in?
It was in political science.
Okay, and what's the master's that you're working on?
Right now it's applied intelligence. So it's more focused on intel analysis and whatnot.
And I did a master's in cybersecurity, and a lot of it was writing papers and case studies and stuff like that. So personally, some of it was exciting. what do you think has been some of the most beneficial education that you've obtained in the master's portion?
Well, I'm only one semester in. I start my second one in 2 weeks, I think. But anyway, the most rewarding has been the conversations I've had with my professors. Like, that's without a doubt. The essays, I wouldn't say have been rewarding because it's just I can't say that word, but repeating what I already know. And but conversations with my professors, making connections with good people, my classmates, being able to connect with people on the same level, that's been very rewarding for sure.
Okay. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you too, even like my master's was online, and I'm still friends with a couple of people that I went through my master's program in probably like 2012, 2013 or something like that. I can't remember when I went through my master's, but the point is, like, I've had to actually use them on security clearance stuff,
Right.
and like, because you have to refer to students that you went through when you're going for like higher level clearances with the government. And I guess what I'm getting at is it's cool that you're embracing your classmates and your professors, because a lot of people, to include myself, at least in my undergrad, kind of go through the motions of like, let's just get this shit done and like close this part of my life and move on. Like, I
Right.
want the piece of paper. So
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I did do that in my undergrad. I have radically changed from 5 years ago to now. Now I'm definitely taking it seriously, and it's rewarding. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I know you and I have talked, and your dad's a big inspiration for you,
Right.
and I think it's awesome that you're pushing yourself through, but you're also, you have things in your life that are affecting you, but you're still maintaining your focus on
Right.
trying to achieve those things. Whereas, a lot of people get distracted with things, and they are very personal and real things, and they almost let that, for lack of better words, defeat them,
Right.
whereas you're trying to persevere through those things and trying to
Mhm.
move on. Because I guess I'll let you continue your backstory. Maybe you can tell us
Mhm.
about like what you're doing now and what your aspirations are down the road.
Okay. Yeah, so on the topic of my dad, like it's just like since I was a kid, me and him, we always had this promise where like we're never gonna give up no matter how hard it gets. Like that's just not an option. Like no one else can help you except yourself, and you just gotta go through it no matter what, because that's just how it is and that's life. So I've adhered to that, and I suppose it's working, right? And yeah, I hope to continue to do that. I am not 100% certain as to where I want to end up yet, but I do know I want to either do consulting, which I'm kind of doing now, but I want to, like private security consulting on a higher scale for the most part. We'll see. There's a lot of things in store for me. I just got to keep it under wraps a little, but
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. There's certain things that we can't talk about on the podcast.
Hmm.
But you have big aspirations, and I think that having someone who has that background like yours, that's trying to achieve these things down the road, it's going to pay dividends when you actually
Hmm.
move further into your current career, or you
Right.
advance into something else, and it could have great implications, if that's even the right word I'm looking for,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
towards
hope so.
Your future.
the intelligence community, or towards like just helping, like
Uh-huh.
Right.
making yeah making America a little bit better, or helping with some of the issues that we
No,
have
Yeah.
yeah,
going on.
that's what I was talking to with a good friend I made in DC. We were talking about how like it's not just like, oh, you want to, appear to be cool by working in this field or whatever. You're like truly pursuing a calling, right? And it's not something you can avoid. It's like it's already in you or it's not. And I definitely have it in me, so I'm gonna do
Yeah.
anything I can.
Yeah, you're very passionate about the things that you're trying to obtain. So
Yeah.
I definitely think you have a bright future, and hopefully, down the road we'll be able to interview you on the things that you can or can't talk. Well, can talk about, not can.
Right.
Yeah, and say Kent isn't going to be very good. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't talk about that. Sorry, I can't talk about that. I don't think it's going to be a very good episode.
Random thought. Do we even have a topic coming up for? Are we doing the podcast on Thursday with Jason? Did that?
No idea.
I'm not sure, but I hope so.
Well, I mean, that was supposed to be last Thursday. They were supposed to do it, and then we never did it.
She was traveling last
Oh,
Thursday.
Yeah.
okay.
And then the week before it was supposed to happen, but we prefaced it and pushed it off. And then the week before that, I was on a date in Cheyenne, so I couldn't make it. So it
Yeah, I
was
have
my
no
fault,
idea.
then Carla's fault, and then let's just say it's Austin's fault.
We own it.
Fine.
But,
So I have a question for you, Carla.
Yes.
So besides your going through the stuff with your dad, what was the most difficult part of not just your schooling, but like getting to the point where you are today?
I think the hardest part was I guess coming up from what people consider to be a lower class upbringing. Like I was never like this rich kid or anything, right? So working class, lower class, whatever people want to call it. But growing up in a disadvantaged community and just kind of like, for example, my high school had a 50% dropout rate. Like there was no teaching going on. So it's either
especially in LA.
Especially in LA, yeah. So there was that. So there has been kind of like a class thing going on, where throughout my schooling, like I mentioned where I'm from, or just to people in general, and they kind of give me this face like, "Oh, really? You're from there?"
Right. Because LA in general gets a bad rap.
Right.
Or just California in general gets a bad rap, but especially LA and people that
and
grew up
especially
there.
certain areas within LA, right? Like obviously, if you're from like Beverly Hills, that's not going to be like.
But if you're from like Compton or Watts or some bad place like that, you're just from being born there, your predisposition is to have a bad life.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. I'm like, that's not gonna happen to me. Like I remember having professors saying like, "Oh yeah, you're not gonna make it, so you shouldn't even try." And I'm like, I'm gonna do it now just because you said I'm not gonna be able to.
And look at you now.
Yeah, well, trying. Yeah.
With the master's program you're in, is it 36 credits?
You know what? I don't even know. But
how many credits are your classes that you're taking? 3?
Yeah, 3 per semester. Although, but like to be full time, 3.
Yeah. Okay. Because most programs are 36 credits, and they're usually broken down into 3 credits each class at like a 500 or 600 level, or 5,000, 6,000, whatever the school deems. Because some of them do it by the hundreds, some of them do it by the thousands, but it's all the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked into it. I'm more interested in the topics themselves and just take it as it comes, I guess.
So I'm gonna snitch on myself a little bit here, but this was like something that I did in my master's program. So my junior and senior year of my undergrad, I took every single paper that I wrote, every single discussion that I wrote on cybersecurity, and I put it into one Word doc and called it cybersecurity. So it was anything that I wrote about. And, as we know, if you're writing a paper, it goes through those proofreading things where you can get hit with plagiarism.
I hate those things.
So I think it was like my first year of my master's, I realized that some of the topics were identical to shit that I had already written papers on, done discussions on. So what I used to do is go Control F to that document, find the topic, bring it over, and then, update my references, update some current events if something was different in cybersecurity. And I would do it for discussions. And at first, this was going well. I thought it was really smart.
At first.
And then at one point, I decided to be super lazy and do it for an entire paper. So when I went to submit it through
Turn it in.
turn it in.
Turn it in. Yeah,
turn it
so
in,
that's what I used
turn it
to.
in. I got 100% plagiarized
Oh my god.
Because you've already submitted that paper.
by Robert Zemsek. It was by
Right.
me. So
Yeah.
I had to contact my teacher and explain myself, and
They're like,
gave
why
me
you
back.
turning the same paper twice?
I was like, I need
Oops.
to rewrite this. And
But they were
Yeah.
cool with it.
they were cool with it. They just thought it was funny, and they're like, "Are you
Oh,
kidding
thank
me?"
God.
Yeah. So
Could've
I
been
accidentally clicked the wrong paper. Sorry.
I got docked like 5% or something like that, and had 24 hours to write back up a 5-page paper or something like
Good
that.
old days back in college and university, huh?
Yep. So
Could be worse. Don't do that. Yeah.
yeah. You can use it in discussions. They'll never catch you that way. But
Yeah, discussion posts are way different.
yeah, because they're not like monitored on plagiarism. But
Nope.
Don't say that because they're gonna turn it in discussions now.
Right, discussion post.
That'd be awful.
Just because of that one Rob guy.
Yeah. Oh no.
So does that pretty much cover your backstory, or is there anything else you would want to tell the Fight Like Hell listeners about yourself that we should know?
Well, in general, I think that pretty much covers it. Like, I've not been a spoon-fed child. I don't know, is that what they refer to? Yeah, it's always things the hard way, and I think that has accustomed me to like chaotic situations, which I think in our fields, right? Like, we have to be able to intake these chaotic situations and deal with them. So I think in the end, it's advantageous for me. But I do have some friends who have similar.
There's a
right?
big word.
You know what that word means, Rob?
Do you know?
No.
I'm quizzing you like right now.
I've heard it before.
Right now, Rob, you have to write a paper on that word.
Look it up.
I'm gonna look it up. You keep talking.
What was that word, Rob? What was the word?
Advantageous.
Advantageous. Oh no. So I have friends who have like similar life stories or worse life stories, and they for sure have like PTSD, right? Which is like the civilian PTSD, and very much like the one that people from the military have. Like, it's something that's ongoing and has to be battled with. The anxiety that comes with it, all that.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can get PTSD.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's not just to veterans. It's
Right.
anybody who's had a traumatic experience in their life. It doesn't have to be just from combat. It could be, your mom dying. It could be, your best friend dying. It could be just from any situation.
Right. And that's the thing. I feel like many people are not aware of that. And I've always tried to bring awareness to that because it's very important. If you don't know what you're fighting against, how can you beat it, right?
Right, yeah. And like I said, most people, when they hear PTSD, they think of veterans. They think of people that have been in the military. That's all they think of. And if a regular civilian comes up to you and say, "Oh, I have PTSD," and they're not a veteran, you're like, "No, you don't.
Yeah,
you weren't in the military. How do you have PTSD?"
Right.
But anybody can have it.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So that's a thing, and basically what I always tell everyone I come in contact with, that because people reach out to me sometimes for help, and I try to tell them, like, you don't, like, this is going to sound wrong, but you don't have anyone but yourself in this world, to be honest. And you got to just help yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. Like, I'll be here to guide you, but that's it. Right. And that's just something everyone should be able to hear and understand. And I want to get that point across.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, what's that word mean?
Advantageous. Happening or carried on according to chance rather than design or inherent nature.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You
My
remember that?
adventures were always advantageous, always thrusted on me. What?
You look so triggered.
Are you gonna remember that word, Rob? I'm gonna message you tomorrow and ask you what that word was.
They use it in a sentence.
I'm gonna try to use it in a sentence tomorrow. I'm just gonna bring it up in like a text with Steph and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
I'm gonna send you a snap tomorrow with that word. I'm gonna ask you what it means.
Shit. I'll have to Google it real quick.
Okay.
No,
Like, what was that word from last night?
no, but I don't know. I think you have very valid points, and I think the problem is with people in general, and just we don't know exactly what's going on in a person's head.
Right.
So your worst day might not be comparable to someone else's worst day, but
Right.
your worst day is your worst day because that's what your brain knows.
Right.
Right.
So someone in Afghanistan's probably their worst day is significantly harder than most Americans' worst day,
Right.
or in Russia,
Well,
or in
speaking of that, Rob, talk about that Joe Rogan episode that you just listened to, with the girl from North Korea. North Korea, or South Korea.
North Korea.
North Korea. Yeah, talk about that, Rob.
Yeah. So, did you happen to catch that one, Carla? Yet?
Yeah, I heard her on Joe Rogan and then Lex Friedman as well.
Okay, both
Yeah.
excellent podcasters. Yeah, it's interesting because it was a girl who's 13 years old who lived up until she was 13 in North Korea, and she talked about all she knew until she was 13 was what it felt like to be starving every day. She never knew what being full was.
Right.
And the hardships that she endured were so profound. There was stuff that she was talking about how the kids would eat rats that were eating dead bodies. And then those kids would in turn die, and then other rats would come and eat those kids, and it was like a constant cycle of that. And just some of the things that excuse me, that she went through were so foreign to even physically or mentally comprehending, as Rogan was explaining, and I'm assuming Lex was as well. It's just one of those things that, like, her worst day is probably worse than all three of ours.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
with that being said, on the flip side, we are privy to what is presented to us in our lives. So if we don't have the knowledge of an adverse situation, then our brain pathway is not going to comprehend the difference. So something that bothers me in my sheltered area is going to be the worst day of my life for something, versus something that might bother Austin or bother Carla or bother that girl. What was your thoughts on that episode, Carla?
Well, I cried to be honest. It's just horrible. Like I've read similar accounts from other periods in history, right? Like the Holocaust or like Rwanda, genocide, that sort of thing. But to hear one that is ongoing right now, right? Like she's here safe in America now, thankfully. But as she talks about it, how many people are not suffering the same things she suffered through in North Korea right now? And like no one gives a shit, to be honest. And that's disturbing to me.
Yeah, that was exactly what Joe was talking about too. He kept bringing up, well, we're sitting here having coffee and relaxing and having this detailed conversation about your past. There's people that are living this right now. There are people that are being killed. There are people that are being tortured, being imprisoned for, I found it interesting too when I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but who's Kim Jong Un's dad?
Jesus,
The
why don't
previous,
I know? Kim Jong Il or Kim Jong?
I think that's correct.
Yeah, Kim Jong Un, and then there's
Kim Jong Un is the guy right now.
Yeah, Kim Jong Il.
Yeah,
is his dad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
so Austin, they were talking about a point that when he passed away, that if you didn't cry or if you didn't, make a hysterical fit about it, you could be imprisoned for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and the other interesting thing was too, in a house fire, your first responsibility to grab is not human life, not human property. You need to grab your picture of
Mhm.
Kim Jong-un and
Right.
take that as your first responsibility out of a fire, because if you let it burn, you're in deep shit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just wild. Like, this is
Yeah.
really happening right now. And
Right. And most people don't understand that. Like me and you, we have completely different lives than everybody else, and a lot of people don't realize the lives that's going on over there, or they have an idea, but they don't think about it.
Right.
And I mean, and so many people here, even in the United States, believe that they have the worst lives ever because they don't have the freedoms they want. But then they don't know about things that are happening, like you said, North Korea, that would never happen here in the United States
Mm.
to that
Yeah,
level.
and like that's the thing. I on my Instagram, I always post these stories or horrible images sometimes, but why do it? To make people aware, right? I'm not trying to
Right.
be a sensationalist, but like these things are going out in the world, and if you're not aware of them, like, are you really a part of humanity? Like, I don't think you're being a witness. And if you're not a witness, you can't change what's going on, right? But many people just want to shut their views, their eyes
Yeah.
to. So
And so many people are just unaware. Like they
true.
just don't know that it's going on. And it's
Yeah.
not from lack of like trying. They just their culture or their people around them, the society around them doesn't look at that, so they have no idea that's even going on.
Yeah, I've had like 3 people message me today asking what's going on in Afghanistan, and
Right.
yeah, I explain it to them. That's our duty, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, do we want to dive into that now?
yeah, I mean, that's
Might as
part of the
I mean,
well.
reason
that's
why
that's
we
that's the
called you on
next
the podcast.
topic.
Yeah.
So why don't you kick us into it, Carla?
You're the
What?
intel leader here.
Ooh, pressure. Not really, but okay. Well, as we know, the Taliban has taken over Afghanistan essentially. Like they, how do you say, they like kicked out the government, and now they're the established government. What are they calling themselves? The Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, right? I believe.
I don't know about that part.
I
I'm
think
not
that's
sure either.
what
Yeah, I'm
they're
not sure.
calling, or they're the government. I mean, they're so-called
Mhm.
government. But it's bad. It's just really bad situation. The embassy, U.S. embassy, already evacuated. I believe like 400 or so people that were like our people, but there's still Afghani people who have helped and are potentially not being evacuated, and they are in a horrible, desperate situation because they could be executed by the Taliban, essentially.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's been one of the trending topics for probably the past like 48 hours or so.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, so Rob and I have different opinions on compared to the average civilian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, me and Rob, I was talking to Rob about it earlier. Like the Taliban has always been in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've always been there. They've always been a part of Afghanistan. You know, they've just we were there. Since we've been there, they've always been there.
Right.
And unfortunately, we knew this was coming. Like we knew, this was going to happen. Unfortunately, it happened faster than we would like.
Yeah.
You know, but inevitably, this is what was going to happen.
Right.
What do you think,
Yeah.
Rob?
Well, I mean, there's a couple comments I have on it, and so coming from the soldier mind frame, and being someone that actually deployed to Afghanistan and worked in Afghanistan and also worked against the Taliban, it's a very interesting conversation because I, in the back of my mind, kind of always knew that if we ever pulled out, it would just fall to shit. Things that, you know, my brothers and sisters that we fought for and some died for would be lost. But I'm also at a different stage in my life now where I can't control everything around me. So rewind, probably I think it was like 6 or 8 years ago when Mosul fell in Iraq. I was a wreck over it. Like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I remember crying myself to sleep. Like just I was a wreck. Like because you know that was the first town that or like major city that I fought some of the wildest insurgents in to take over that city and set up the first bases in Iraq, which, you know, and, you know, I had many memories of people that, you know, fought side by side with me to help secure that foothold. And then at the same time, you know, lost friends in Mosul. And to see the place that, you know, once upon a time I was there to help secure a foothold, and my brothers and sisters, you know, later would help keep that foothold and get completely overrun was very hit mute fool.
Oh well.
Anyways, it was really really hard to see something like that. And fast forward to now, it's one of those things that I feel terrible for the innocent people. Like I look at life a lot differently. When I used to hunt insurgents when I was 19 to 23 years old, I had a very different ideology. It was okay if it's within my ROE and they are considered a threat or they are considered as a target, eliminate that target. On my second deployment to Afghanistan, I was probably about 6 or 7 years older. I was 28, maybe 29, something like that. And that was more of a hearts and minds mission where we were out there actually trying to help the local community to get the Taliban out and to actually capture the Taliban in the most non-kinetic ways in comparison to Iraq, where I was mainly a door kicker and trying to capture and kill insurgents. Whereas in Afghanistan, we learned that, you know, a lot of these people are put in these very uncomfortable situations where they are a family that has been threatened to implant IEDs to kill American soldiers. But if they don't do this, they're going to execute their family or they're going to kill them. So that going forward now, it's kind of tough because I know that there are veterans right now that are a part of Save Our Six and a part of Vigilant and Humble. And I've even had a couple of friends that I've served with or are currently in the military reach out to me, ironically, today to get my tidbits and my thoughts on it and ask how I was doing mentally. I told everyone that I'm fine. Like I'm okay. Like I feel bad for the situation, but I also don't feel responsible because at a certain point we have to look at the humanity aspect of soldiers, airmen, Marines, seamen, Coast Guard, CIA, FBI, the people that are in the field over there need to be able to come home because we're potentially wasting human life over there. But on the flip side of that, you know, when you have almost a dictatorship trying to come in and overthrow government and, you know, potentially genocide, you know, civilian populace, it puts you in like a precarious situation where, you know, what do you do? Because it's hard. Like I'm not mentally fucked up over this, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like it doesn't bother me as much as the whole Iraq thing did.
Right.
Which I think maybe I don't know.
I also think it's because, you know, Iraq had a special place in your heart because it was your first place to go to. And one, it was a lot closer to you time frame wise. because you were there a lot closer to you, and it was your first, experience, I guess, as a soldier, and like I said, like you said, in Afghanistan, in the back of our mind, we knew if we pulled out or started to pull out, that the Taliban would push it. So that's their objective, you know. So we knew this was eventually going to happen, and me personally, I don't see this as being over anytime soon.
No.
And this is
Not at all.
this is just the beginning of something else. Like, people are saying that the 20-year fight is over, but it's not. Like, this is just the beginning, basically just the beginning of something else.
Yeah, that was the precursor, if anything.
Yeah,
Carla, what's your initial thoughts on everything? Because I'm interested to hear like what your perspective is on this.
Yeah, as the Intel analyst over there.
I don't know. I have been losing sleep and food over it, to be honest. Like, it really bothers me that this is happening. Maybe I empathize with the situation a little too much, despite not truly ever being involved in it. But I do have friends who come from Afghanistan, and they have family over there as well, and they tell me what's going on, and it's heartbreaking on all sides, really.
Right.
I obviously have friends in the military and people who have sacrificed their lives, and for what, right? And now the Taliban has taken over essentially, and nothing is being done. And then on top of that, they are about to be, or have been, recognized by China as legitimate I don't know, overlords of Afghanistan, or whatever they want to call them. Mm-hmm. And that has a lot of future implications, and that's really gonna hit us one day, if not already. And that's something I think that is a threat to America.
Yeah, I mean, and no matter what, I mean, China is our biggest threat, no matter what it comes down to.
Yeah. It's so. Next week, I might be able to talk about some information that I've been privy to, and it's about the military. And instead of talking about what I can and can't say right now, I'm going to give you my ideology of the situation that we have at hand.
Okay.
And it's kind of conspiracy, and it's kind of fucked up, but at the same time, like, this is my thoughts on the situation. I personally think that the Afghanistan war has been a lost war for probably the past 10 or 15 years.
I agree.
The initial push into Afghanistan at the 5-year mark was doing well, but within the first 10 years, and I went over probably in like the 9th or 10th year of Afghanistan, we started getting into areas that we just never made progress on. We never really separated those people from Taliban control or recruitment. And the only thing that we kind of did differently was we treated the insurgency a little bit lighter in certain ways, but then we also amplified it in other ways. So you didn't have as many guys like me in Iraq and Afghanistan kicking in your door at 4 a.m. to snatch dad, or, a kid that was like 16 or 17 years old. Instead, we incorporated a whole new version of implications that would have profound impact on future generations of possible insurgents. And what we started doing is drone attacks. And, during that process, we are killing innocent civilians, because these are technically precision attacks, but they're not as precise as someone in the special operations community targeting someone for 2 or 3 days, watching that person, and actually going in and have physical hands on this person to acquire them.
And a missile isn't nearly as precise as a bullet.
Exactly. And most of the time it was about capturing the target, then eliminating the target just for
Yeah.
intel purposes.
Right.
So, with all that being said, and then within the past several years, we have backed the fuck off to the point where we're letting the Afghan army, the Afghan police, pretty
Mhm.
much run all ops. I was actually
Well,
talking to
now you're
someone
just teaching
today.
them.
Yeah. And we have been that blanket in the background that is helping teach these forces do a future job to protect their nation.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe, and this is where it's going to get conspiracy theory on you guys, and or like in a couple
Okay.
weeks I'll prove that was right. um, I think that the war and just everything that we are doing has gotten so stagnant for the military industrial complex, where we're not able to produce reason to have high expenditures in military operations. So, what do when you have this situation? Pull people out, create chaos. When
Mm.
chaos ensues, what do you do next? You deploy the military. So, my idea is that we are pulling out because we're actually going to be going back in and have a
Mm.
reason to be at war again, which is going to fund the military industrial complex
Right.
millions to trillions, or excuse me, millions to billions to trillions. And that's just my thoughts on it,
Right.
I've heard
Basically,
that.
restarting it all over again.
Yeah.
essentially. And it's going to be at the cost of American taxpayers and their children, their brothers, their sisters, their wives, their husbands. So like the military side of me, my heart aches for that to happen, because that's more loss that
Right.
our military and veteran community has to potentially deal with. But the human aspect side of me also realizes that the people that are there that don't want to be there, that are people that were political assets to the military, that were interpreters, that were working with our U.S. military, or any of these oh God, what why what, embassies,
Anesthesia.
I answered my own question. Anyways, embassies, uh, their lives are in danger and their
Right.
families are in danger. So like, where where is the ethical boundary of we need to help, but at the same time, like, is helping? Are we helping too much? What's your
Mm.
guys' thoughts?
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up something on the stream here.
Oh.
So, I mean, we talked about this before, where basically, the C-17s are trying to take off from the airfields, and they're being just surrounded of people trying to get on so they can leave.
Yeah,
Because they
people.
don't want to. They don't want to be there because they're scared for their life. Because the
Right.
Taliban doesn't care about their lives.
We won't show the second video on this. We can at them here in a second, but the second video actually shows the airplane, the C-17, thousands of feet, excuse me, in the air, and people falling off of it because they were holding on to landing gear. They were holding on to the sides of the plane. Like, Carla, would you mind quoting what you put on your story?
Yeah. This here right here is a picture. I believe there's 400. I don't know. Could be civilians. Could be people who are helping us. And they're all within that airplane, and they're all bunched in there, right? And they. I mean, can you imagine the desperation? And as we were showing that video before, when that airplane took off, five males who were hanging on to the wheels fell down, right? And they landed in houses nearby. Like they would rather die than like get held up by the Taliban and like tortured or executed. Like that's
Yeah.
how desperate it is.
Yeah, that's how desperate it is, and that was like one of the first things I read this morning on your stories. Your stories and a couple of my other friends pop up
Hmm.
as like stories I constantly
Mhm.
read, and I saw that and I was just like, it's
Yeah.
sad, but at the same time, I'm like, the the timing is insanely ironic considering we were going to have
Right.
you on the podcast tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And I mean, a lot of people in Afghanistan, not everybody, because a lot of people think that, I guess civilians, from my side at least, how I believe is a lot of people think the Afghans were mad that we were there, but it's the complete opposite. A lot of them were thankful we were there, because we were a sense of security, where they didn't have to worry about Taliban breaking into their house in the middle of the night. Yeah, it still happened while we were there, but most of the kids and stuff were happy that we were there.
Right. And that's one of the things that resonated with me as a female, because I don't know if you saw that picture where the Taliban started to paint pictures of models that were on the wall that had
Mhm.
like wedding dresses or something like that, provocative looking. I don't know. And because everyone's all the females are gonna go back to their, like their traditional
cover.
garb. I don't know.
Yeah,
burkas.
The
yeah, the
burqas, right?
burqa, yeah.
And on top of that, like me and my friend were having a conversation. So he's gay, right? I'm a very opinionated female. Like we wouldn't fare well in that society. You know what I mean? How many of those people don't exist right now in Afghanistan and are sick and worried for their lives?
Now everybody.
Yeah, at this point. So
Yeah.
it's just a crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
Carla, what do you think could be done or should be done, or what do you think is going to happen over these next few weeks?
Well, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with they used to call him the Lion of Panjir.
No.
I believe his name, let me see, his name is Ahmad Masood. He was he was like a guerrilla commander, right, Afghani, and he had something called the Northern Alliance, and he got assassinated, I believe, by Al Qaeda on September 9th, 2001, and prior to September 11th, 2001, right?
Yeah.
So now his son is starting that Northern Alliance again to fight the Taliban, and I believe they're like the last standing. Like the Afghani military, the people who have decided to not actually like just escape, are joining up in Panjir, and they're trying to put some kind of resistance. It might be futile, but it's inspirational.
It's something, yeah.
It's something, right? And I hope they can do anything. But I couldn't really say as to what's going to happen. I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, because this could go one of two ways. It could go the way that Rob was talking about, which it probably will, or it could go the way of Vietnam.
Right.
Because this is based. How this is right now it's basically a replay of the end of Vietnam.
Right. The false Saigon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's going to go, like I said, either one of two ways. And I'm definitely leaning more towards Rob's way, because one, it's all about power grab and money grab.
Right.
I mean, and it's just how it is. And like Rob was saying, the only way to boost that is to create chaos again.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah. Something that was just a random thought and kind of interesting that Evan Hafer?
Yeah, Evan Hafer, Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, so he was recently on Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about how one of the things that Black Rifle Coffee had done was they went and employed former interpreters for the special operations community to work at Black Rifle Coffee.
Oh, okay.
And I just find that interesting, because it's like extending the ultimate olive branch to assist in a situation. And part of me feels bad for the humanity aspect of those who helped us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people in the just like the Muslim community or the Afghani community in the United States, are viewed as they're all grouped together as one group of people.
Well, yeah,
You know,
it's
yeah,
racial and it's
yeah, and a lot of
racially
people,
driven, and
yeah, and a lot of people that see them as terrorists. No matter who they are, what they do, because the color of their skin and what they, their races are
Right.
all seen that
or
way.
religion background.
Yeah, or religion, but it's completely it's not true because there's
Right.
so many good, Muslims and Afghani people. You know, instead of like Rob was saying, what Evan Hafer did is great because he, like you said, reached out that olive branch to show that, hey, we're not, this kind of company that's gonna group you guys together as one kind of, group.
Yeah, and
So
that's definitely one way to go about it. I would love to hear more stories of people doing that, employing or just helping, bringing them here if possible.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a tough situation just because how many people can you help, and then
Right.
how many lives
right,
are you putting at stake too by mass pullout. And then on the flip side, you know part of me is like, I kind of want all my current generation of soldiers, Marines, airmen, seamen, people that work in these communities that carried on our generations past
mm,
to be back home and be safe.
right,
And
right, and we all want that, right?
Yeah.
But then we also got to think of what are the implications of that.
implications and ethics behind it too,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you're supposed to help people, but
Right.
at the same time, like, pulling back can create two situations where there's human life at struggle. And then
Mm-hmm.
like something you said earlier today, Austin, was about how you know pulling everyone out could harbor the next September 11th or something like
Right.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where my brain was. Me and Rob talked about that earlier. Is you know what stops them from trying to do that again if they have full control, like they did at September 11th.
I
You
just don't
know,
think that they have the financial resources to do that unless
but do
they.
but do we know? We don't know though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
Like
they're gonna be emboldened now, They've
yeah,
established government.
and they're way like I guess like smarter, and more trained than ever
With all the
compared
weapons
to
too.
yeah. I mean compared to 2001.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
You know, and that's the last thing we want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially because literally here in the next couple of weeks, we're about ready to hit our 20-year
20th anniversary.
reunion.
Yeah,
Or not reunion, sorry. Excuse
and
me,
like
anniversary.
and unfortunately, if anything were to happen, it'd probably happen around that because we are not celebrating it, but mourning all the people that lost, during that, and that'd be the ultimate hit 'em where it's hard,
Right. Right.
kind of, and that's the last thing we need or want as a country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
One of the crazy things too is Afghanistan it's in my top 5 favorite countries
mm,
of topography.
right.
Um, Iraq, in my opinion, and this is going to be a little bit offensive, I thought was a shithole, just
Mm-hmm.
because like literally they had above ground sewage, so a lot of places smelled like feces,
Right.
and they just didn't have a beautiful landscape. Whereas if you take pictures in Afghanistan of some of the mountains and stuff in RC East or RC South, and you eliminate any like the mud huts in the background,
Yeah,
or you get away from the cities or the military
you have
bases that
no idea.
you would think that you are in Colorado or something like that, in the Rockies. Like, it is some of the most gorgeous topography. Like,
Yeah,
it's a beautiful, beautiful place that
it's
we
very
used to,
mountainous for
yeah,
sure.
we used to joke around about how, like, you could turn this place into like the ultimate tourist trap for like skiing and snowboarding, and
Mhm.
you could make legitimate resorts out here.
Well, I mean,
So
look at places like Dubai.
Right.
I mean, not to like, say one's the same as the other, but like there's still, you could easily do, if you really wanted to, the same kind of geographics.
well, I would say topography wise, they're quite different, just
Yeah,
because
one's just sand.
one's more deserty and
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
ocean based, whereas Afghanistan is truly a mountainous community. Like, I
Oh yeah.
spent many days in the mountains in Afghanistan, and it's quite beautiful out there. And I actually occasionally have randomly showed pictures of like the night sky out there with like mountains in the background. People are like, "Where's that?" I'm like, "Afghanistan." What? I'm like, yeah.
Right. Because all
Fucking
people think of is, what they see on the news
Right.
or what they see in the media, which is nothing but, the cities, the torn down cities, the mud huts,
Mhm.
the streets. They don't see what's behind that or what's around that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it all around sucks,
Yeah.
and
To
I
say
don't
the
think
least.
any of us have the answers. Like, there's
Right.
no definitive answer, and the sad thing is, no matter what
Me and
you
Rob are going to start
do,
our own Blackwater.
fight
Well,
like hell, Blackwater.
all right.
I could
Why
get
not?
back into that stuff. I've
You
done.
could do some Blackwater.
I could do some of that stuff. No, it's just, it sucks. And then you have a whole new generation of soldiers who are super envious of the generation of soldiers that I went through with, that don't have the same type of combat experience. And
Mm,
now you're brewing up the next
yeah.
generation, Gen Z,
Mhm.
of potential warfighters. And I don't know where I would be in life without that experience. But on the flip
Right.
side, I would not wish some of the carnage that I experienced in my life and was a part of on anyone else, because like
Right. And I mean,
it's
I always
literally the
tell.
reason why I have fucking Allie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I
I
am
mean, I always. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, like,
Mhm.
I'm more than 20 years well, not 20 years yet, but like
Mhm.
18, 17 years separated from some of the violence that was shed in Iraq. And
Mhm.
so that stuff still affects me to this day. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's things I think about, it's things I dream about. And it was all because I was 19 years old, and all I wanted to do was go to war as soon as I saw the Twin Towers fall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, as I was 19 when that happened, and I
Yeah.
was already enlisted in the military. So it's wild. And mainly, you know what? There's one thing I want to pause and bring up too.
Mhm.
For those of you who know us personally, outside of the podcast, or maybe don't even know that Austin and and I might be speaking out of turn for you, Carla.
Mm-mm.
Hang on.
Oh, I was messing up your camera. But anyways, what I wanted to touch on is like the military is the best and the worst, thing you can do with your life.
Uh-huh.
It's the best and the worst, life for you, because I mean, yeah, there's bad things that happen, and yeah, you have issues you have to deal with afterwards, but it's some of the best times that you won't ever forget.
Right.
And like Rob said, he wouldn't be who he
I
is.
literally just Allie just literally dropped my mixer. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
Oh
You're
my
good.
god.
Rob's breaking shit already over there.
No, Allie fucking did it.
Well, we can't blame her. She's too cute, so we'll blame you.
Right.
Continue what you were saying, Austin.
No, I gotta say, like I said, the military is the best and the worst, thing you can do with your life.
One of the things I was trying to say before Allie interrupted me was for those of you right now who are struggling with all this, current events, and this is something we should probably put in the show notes or make a post about. For those of you who are struggling and having trouble with all this, please feel free to reach out to Save Our Six, to reach out to Vigilant and Humble. I'm assuming Carla will bullshit with people. Carla and I have spent quite a few nights bullshitting through
100%.
life struggles, and she's a good listener and very good at life advice. So the point is, a couple of my friends checked on me today, and this is me doing like a public service announcement saying, hey, if you guys are struggling or girls are struggling with this, reach out to us, because for some reason, I personally feel level-headed about the situation, and I want to help those who are struggling with this, because it's very overwhelming for people who either served, didn't serve, have any type of affiliation with what's going on overseas. Like Carla, you have friends and family out there, therefore you have affiliation, plus the intel analyst side of you, and military affiliation as well. So just because you didn't serve doesn't mean, just because someone didn't serve doesn't mean that this isn't affecting them.
Right.
So with that being said, reach out to us at Save Our Six, at Vigilant and Humble, at, you say your damn name, it's so confusing.
Pearl Datey.
Pearl Datey?
Yeah.
And what was that again?
Great. No, I'm confused. I don't know. So I mean, it's like Pearl means danger, and deity, whatever, it means like God. So I'm like the god of chaos or something.
Yeah, you talked about that on Jason's podcast.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting name to come up with, and you're keeping it. We all
I'm thinking about changing it. Yeah.
I want to, but I just can never find something. Like once I find something, I go change it, and it's already taken. So
yeah, just keep it.
Might as well.
What about like Chaos Carla?
Chaos Carla.
Carla Chaos.
Carla Chaos. Okay, well, we'll think about it. We got time.
We'll just put California Chaos, and that'll be your new name.
California Chaos. I'm sure that's taken. Definitely taken. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I mean, so are we?
Is there anything more that we want to talk about with Afghanistan? Like any closing thoughts on it?
Closing thoughts. There's so many.
Carla,
I mean, it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Right? Yeah, that's as good as I can put it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things that we're gonna have to stand by and see. And then the only thing that I don't like is now we're gonna have to lean on the same sources that have been spoon feeding us bullshit from very political agendas for and very non-scientifical agendas of COVID and elections and stuff. Now we have to rely on those news sources to tell us what the fuck's going on in Afghanistan.
But we do, but we don't, because luckily, like, we know people, who have either in the military or have been there, and like we know people who can find that information, the real information, not just the shit that's on the news.
Right.
Yeah, which will make a difference, because like I said, I had a conversation with a handful of people today, and we'll talk next week.
And I've seen, and I was on TikTok today, and I saw a lot of people that are in the military live on TikTok because people had questions.
Yeah.
So we want to go into something lighter hearted now.
Yeah, maybe we can kick into ATI. If you guys have anything else, because Yeah, this
I
has
mean,
been
yeah.
not the
Good.
easiest podcast to get
so,
out.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we switch it up and go to the end of this now, where we do answer the internet, and none of these are fucked up. We didn't do any
Mom,
super
you can
fucked up
listen.
ones. Yeah, we didn't do any super fucked up ones for Carla.
Thank you.
So we're gonna keep this PG-13.
Nice.
And I'll go. So the first one we have is, which Mario Kart character would be the best Uber driver?
Oh my god, this is gonna sound horrible. I've never played.
What?
What?
How
I
have you
know.
never
How
played?
you're into,
How have
like,
you never
anime
played Mario
and
Kart?
stuff?
I
I'm
don't
like,
play games. I don't play games. I know. I know. But that's
all right. Can we
that's a
delete
good
this
one because now
episode?
you know.
It's
I don't
not
play
going
games.
anywhere.
We're just gonna delete this. Carla, sorry, but bye. No,
No.
I'm just gonna kick you right now.
Do you know any Mario like players?
You know who the
that
Mario
would-
characters are, at least, right?
The princess, the pink dress thing.
Jeez. Okay,
I have
I'm kicking her. Nope, she's gone.
I'm sorry.
Done with
Okay.
this podcast.
You guys look so triggered.
We
I'm
are.
deeply offended
We are.
right now.
We are.
Nah, it's all good. I think
It's only my whole childhood. Come on.
I would say Yoshi would be.
I was thinking Toad.
Yeah, Yoshi, Toad,
You know,
just something that isn't like.
I mean,
normal as a person.
probably Mario and Luigi would probably be good ones, just because they're the
Right. Yeah.
usual.
The ones.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember like years ago, probably the 90s, they did like a Mario Super Brothers video?
Oh yeah, the movie. Yeah, when he
That's
was the plumber, he was an actual plumber and everything.
Yeah. Carla has no idea what we're talking
Like,
about.
what?
No,
What's
she
going
has
on?
no clue.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
She's not nerdy enough for this.
All right, so what throwback, nostalgic snack from school lunch would you like to have right now?
You know that shitty pizza they would serve at the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like
Yeah.
you just see the oil on that thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That was always
You
good.
have really bad reverb or something, Rob. I can hear you super bad when you talk now for some reason.
Really?
It's when you yell, is what it is.
Okay, I won't yell the rest of the podcast.
When
think
you
it came
yell,
through
I
on
hear
the-
like an echo.
Yeah,
Really?
I heard it too for a second. Sorry about that.
I was like, what is that?
That pizza, ironically, low key. Steph's kids eat like pretty freaking healthy, but one of the things that she has in her freezer a lot is Tony's Pizza, which are those like cheap like $1.49 like pizzas.
They're
I
good.
bought one today, and it reminded me. I swear to God, I was eating. I was like, this reminds me of like middle
It's my
school and,
childhood.
like, yeah, it
Yeah.
reminds me of like middle school and elementary school like pizza. So it's so funny that you said that.
Yeah, no,
So,
I love
yeah.
it. And it's imprinted in my mind because I got that pizza one time and then I tripped and I fell on it and I had just
Oh,
bought
no.
that shirt. Like my parents had just bought it. So it was like I had a pizza stain on my shirt. It was awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
What are you going with, Rob?
You're next. I read the question.
Oh, okay, my bad. Let's see. I'm gonna go with probably my favorite was like the original like fruit roll-ups.
Okay.
Either that or like the zebra gum. Do you guys ever have the zebra gum? They came with like the
Lasts like 5
tattoos.
seconds long.
Yeah, but the tattoo that the outer wrapper was like tattoos. It was like,
I remember that.
you never had that?
I don't think I
Rob knows
tried
what I'm
it.
talking about.
You guys are like the same age. You should know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I remember those candy cigarettes. They had like candy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Right,
I got
yeah,
those as a kid all the time.
Yeah.
I'm the ice
Whenever
cream man.
whenever we'd go to the like just the grocery store, not the grocery store but the gas station.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would see my dad smoking all the time, like cigarettes. So then I'm like, well, I want to be like my dad. And
Yeah,
he would
oh,
buy
yeah.
me candy cigarettes.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob, your turn.
The last time I answered this question, I said sharks, but I think I'm gonna go with something that's available and easy to find. Gushers.
Gushers. I thought about saying that too.
Gushers are so good. I
or
might
the,
actually go buy some after this podcast.
What was that? Or Dunkum? What are the
Dunkaroos?
Dunkaroos? Yeah,
Dunkaroos.
They made a comeback recently.
What? You don't know what Dunkaroos are?
What's that? Some
Oh my
chocolate.
God, Austin,
Spanish
please
stuff?
bring
She's
them up.
canceled.
I don't like chocolate. If it's chocolate, that's why I don't.
It's not chocolate.
It's not chocolate. It's like frosting. Yeah.
It's frosting.
Oh no, I don't.
Oh no,
Carla, for someone who's so smart, you're disappointing me at ACI.
I am smart.
You were
I'm
not
more of a
cultured.
kid
You're
now.
not cultured in this part
I
apparently.
am not. I am not. Mm-mm.
All right, I'm gonna go to the next question while you find Dunkaroos.
Yeah, go ahead. I got it.
Let's see. All right. Which wild animal, if you could pick any, do you think you could domesticate as a pet, or would you like to domesticate as a pet?
Jeez, that's a hard one. Wow. Maybe a wolf, but I don't know if that's possible.
There's your
There they
Dunkaroos.
are.
Okay, yeah, no, I've never seen that.
Yeah, they're cookies. They're cookies, and they come with vanilla frosting with rainbow sprinkles.
Oh, that's
So
cute.
good.
No, I don't know.
So good.
Yeah, it's basically just like regular frosting. And you just dip cookies in them.
Hmm.
How cute.
Like, have you ever stuck your finger in like cake frosting?
Yeah. So it
Yeah,
tastes like.
it's the same thing.
Oh, I know what's going on here. This is like the American stuff. I would always just eat Mexican candy. That's what happened.
Oh,
Hey,
you're one of those, huh?
Yeah, I'm
What-
one of them.
What's your nationalities, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I always just say I'm Mexican American, because I grew up in a Mexican community, and I mean my parents were born in Mexico, but like ethnicity, like literally, I had my DNA done because I get stopped in the street and people ask me like, "Where are you from?" Like, "Are you American?" I'm like, "No." Like, yes, I am American, but I'm
Yes,
not
but
like
no.
like, what are you talking about? And then I had my DNA done, and then as it turns out, it's just I'm like Spanish from Spain, and then like 30-something% indigenous, which is the Mexican side, and that's from Sinaloa. And then I just have British, Scottish, French, and a bunch of other European nations in there. But the whole point is I'm mixed, and it's just easier to say I'm Mexican American.
Okay,
Gotcha.
Hmm.
gotcha. Okay, so back to that question. Which one? What
the
animal
wolf.
are you picking?
A wolf.
Wolf.
Oh, nice, very nice. I think it's I don't know if you guys remember this movie where they're I don't, it's like a 90s or 80s movie, but it's about wolves, and they're like, I think they're like killing people in New York or something. It's like one of those thriller movies or something. But ever since I saw it as a kid, I'm like, that'd be a cool animal to have as a pet.
I mean, they already are domesticated. People have them as pets.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've seen that picture on Reddit where there's this like huge wolf-looking dog thing with this lady next to it. Like, I just always thought that's so
Yeah,
cool.
people already have them domesticated.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah. You can get like wolf hybrids and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I know that. Maybe a bear.
That's what I do. 100%.
Yeah.
It's my favorite animal, so
Those are legit.
definitely a grizzly bear.
You both are gonna get mauled.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, it's either that or like some real cool like a jaguar or like a black panther.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Something like exotic, something like that would be cool.
Right.
Or like a snow leopard or like a white Bengal tiger. Something exotic.
Yeah. A big
What are you
cat.
picking, Rob?
Does a hedgehog count?
That's already like a pet that you can have.
Shit.
Yeah.
So how does the hedgehog count?
Just
Maybe a
because like
porcupine.
it's not gonna kill me. Like all your animals are gonna kill you guys. All right, I got one. I want to like live in like a little Bay Area or something like that.
Great white shark.
That would be crazy.
Sure.
Dolphin.
Oh wow.
That would be really cool.
But I mean, I can see you having a great white shark as a pet.
A sea otter would be really cool.
I can see you having a great white shark as a pet, Rob.
I could as well, except I would be afraid that Allie would get eaten.
Just have it in your backyard, have a big ass pool back there, and just
or maybe like a penguin. Yeah,
a penguin would be cool.
Yeah. Because all your guys' animals are really dope, and I actually thought about them that way too. But I was like, all these animals will hunt you and kill you in your sleep.
Yeah, I'm changing my mind to dolphin, to be honest.
Okay, you're allowed to.
I think a penguin would be cool though.
Yeah.
All right, last question. You want to read it, Austin?
Okay. If you matched with your best friend's sibling on Tinder, would you pursue it?
No. Just say no.
Just say no.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, Rob.
I met my lovely girlfriend on Tinder, and I deleted my Tinder, so I have no reason to answer this question.
That is not a valuable answer.
It's not valuable, but it's valid.
That's what I meant. It's not a valid answer.
I'm very happy with my girlfriend. She's the only person
not
I
a valid
right
answer,
on,
Rob.
and Tinder no longer exists. Okay, what do you got, Austin?
That is not a valid answer.
You could have just said no.
I'm not accepting that, Rob, because I know
your best friend's sibling. Would you pursue it? No.
There you go.
Yeah, no, just too much drama.
My thought is just it depends how hot they are.
Right.
And I know Rob's thinking the same thing, so don't even say that, Rob.
The only hot girl I know.
Right, Rob. Okay. I know where your real, ego is. It's okay.
Listen, we are a great looking couple. And even Carla has commented on before that.
I'm not saying you're not a good looking couple. I just know where your true ego is.
Yeah. It's in myself.
I know.
And she has made me less of no, that would be a disrespectful thing. I was gonna say I've become less shallow dating her, but that's not true because she's beautiful. But
or have you become more shallow?
Can we just get off this and close out this podcast before I get myself in trouble?
Oh, come on, Rob. I mean, each episode we gotta at least try to get you in trouble or embarrass you somehow.
So far, I don't think she listened to last episode, and there was some stuff on there.
We gotta redo the episode where we had Sam on, where we just embarrassed the hell out of you the whole episode.
Yeah, thanks, Carla, for not being a part of that.
Yeah, I can't.
It was 2 weeks in a row, so I got beat the fuck up by Sam and by Austin. And then the following week, Steph comes on, and both of them are just ripping on me too. So I appreciate you being my friend, who's actually my friend, and not
only because we had a serious topic to talk about. It's the only reason.
Thursday, you're not safe. No, we definitely appreciate having you on, especially impromptu, literally less than 24-hour notice. We would love in the future to have you on too. You always bring an interesting perspective to things, and
you're more logical.
Definitely more logical to two very illogical people.
No, you guys are.
Especially that Rob guy.
Mm-hmm. He's got lots of brain damage.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you guys. I'm happy. I'm very happy to be on.
Thank you.
Carla, where can everyone find you?
So they can find me on my Instagram because I don't have any other social media. But it's Pearl Deity, however you want to pronounce it.
Can you spell that out for people?
PERILDEITY. And if not, I'm sure they can if they can't find me, they can find you guys and ask about me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. DM us, and she'll also be on.
You'll be tagged.
A little bit. Yeah, right.
You'll be tagged on this. So.
Yep. Austin, you got anything you want to plug?
Nope. I think that's it, man. If you want to go ahead and close this out.
No. There's something SOS wants to plug.
Oh, too bad.
Do you have that picture handy?
No, I don't have that picture handy.
Okay, never mind.
I don't have it at all. It's in Snapchat.
Oh, I saved it. Anyways, Saber 6 is about ready to do a hat drop this week. Very similar to the hat that Austin's wearing. It's the Saber 6 logo in black and white. And once we find availability in camo hats, we're going to start releasing them. Hats are
super unavailable right now.
Yeah, but Saver 6 hats are coming out very soon. A lot of you have asked for them. We're excited to announce that we got in the logos for them. We just need the hats for them.
I have them, and I have the patches.
Do you have one available?
I mean, I can go get one.
Go get one. Show
Might
the
as well.
Jeez,
camera.
Rob. Just so needy, Rob.
I know. Meanwhile,
Tell
my
me
dog
back.
is being needy in the background. So, well, he's gone. Let's talk shit now, Carla.
Of course.
Honestly,
No,
what do we think about him? It's kind of worthless, right?
no, he's great. I'm just being a nice person, huh?
No.
No, but yeah, I'm really happy to be on, to be honest. Like it's my first I guess podcast, yeah. My first solo podcast.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a little bit different style than Dr. Piccolo's. You know,
Right.
we
yeah.
try to do long formatted conversations where we give our guests the ability to talk about themselves, talk about current events, and
Yeah.
it's
It's great. It's a great outlet.
yeah, we
Okay.
love it. Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. Save our 6. Boom.
Beautiful.
And then the only other announcement I had to make.
It'll look just like this.
Yep.
Nice.
The only other announcement that I had to make that I thought was pretty cool that I was thinking about. We are in episode 27. Is 26 plus 26 50?
What?
Is that 52?
What are you talking about? What?
Hang on.
What are you talking about over there, Rob?
How many weeks are in a year? 52?
Yes, it's 52
sure.
weeks, correct.
It's either 52 or 56. But either way,
Pretty sure it's 52.
we on episode 27 have done half a year's worth of podcasting already.
Oh wow.
52.1429.
Oh,
So
boy.
what's 27 times 2?
It'd be 26. It'd be 26 times 2.
Well, yeah, I know. That means that we've officially
52,
crossed the threshold of
Correct.
doing more than half a year of podcasting, and we have not been taken down. We've only had one episode stripped from YouTube.
And it was all Rob's fault.
Was somewhat true.
Really?
But,
Like everything else.
Not really. Anyways, we appreciate everyone who's joined us today. We definitely appreciate Carla coming on short notice. Awesome.
Whenever we get to episode 100, Rob's going to do a shirtless podcast.
He's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, he's been trying to so it's funny because like during like show notes and stuff, I'm usually just getting out of the shower from the gym. So I'm shirtless and he's like, is this gonna be the episode you're gonna go shirtless? I'm like, I don't think it's gonna look like that. And
I mean, you bring more viewers, you know.
possibly.
Gotta think
Sure.
about that.
It's all those tattoos, you know.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, not happening tonight because that
Take it off, Rob. No. I mean, go back to your stripping days, Rob.
Think about it.
OnlyFans.
Right, the OnlyFans. Yeah.
Anyways, we appreciate everyone that tunes into our podcast weekly. We're excited that we're actually going to drop a podcast that's coming out tonight so that you guys can listen tonight or tomorrow like you traditionally used to. Other than that, please subscribe. Please rate us. We haven't gotten a rating in a while, so go ahead and write us a review on iTunes, please. And yeah, so everyone have a good night. This was the Fight Like Hell podcast. Peace.
Good night.